Yeah, it's a little bit raining here, so I'm trying to get a good angle for video inside somewhere. Well, anyways, you still see nature out here. It's beautiful. And I'm with my truly alive water in my special cup glass that used to have lemons on here. But it is truly healing water. This is rain water, pure, pristine rain water. Yes. In fact, we don't need we don't need to drink a lot of water when we're eating a lot of raw hydrating fruits. Fortunately, that's not always possible in today's crazy society. We're living mostly here in the land. Hello and welcome to the most peaceful place where the fruiting plants and the animals roam free. Thank you to all of them as they make this piece of haven very enjoyable for all. Thank you for coming to Peaceful Village. Today's topic is about pets, about companion animals. Now, I want to talk about this because I think it's very important. I talked about it on my personal YouTube channel, several videos, or a couple of videos, but today I want to talk about this in detail, about why having pets, having companion animals, especially dogs and cats, and especially dogs, because they're more reliant on humans, is a violent thing. Now, some people might think I'm judging them, and my pets are my family, and I treat them with respect, and without them, they would die in the wilderness or on the streets, they would die. And it's because they see animals. Ultimately, they see animals as property. A lot of people that view dogs and cats, especially dogs, with so much love and as a family and all this kind of thing. They have a fetish for animals, especially companion animals, domesticated animals. Just understand that dogs and cats are domesticated. We need to stop domestication and breeding altogether. Completely stop it. Imagine we manipulated these animals. We bred them over eons of time with other wild creatures. All animals deserve to be free in nature. If they are in our midst, they're not free. No matter if we give them the most lovely food, the most vegan food, the most care, the best bed in the world, the best conditions, they are not free because they deserve to be out in nature. Oh, you're going to throw my dog on the street. Oh, you're such a horrible person. You need to take care of animals. You need to rescue animals. You need to adopt animals. Animals, all animals, including humans, deserve to be in nature. That is why we're so lost. We are completely lost. We're completely sick and deteriorated because we are living a life completely away, completely in disharmony with the natural laws. We have no clue how to live life. We believe we know what is the best for other beings, and we have no clue what is the best for other beings. I don't care if people feed their companion animals vegan. Yes, that's a little bit better for sure, but that is not their biological food. And also, meat from a butcher is not their biological food either. So their biological food is to go outside and to hunt for animals. That's their biological food. And cats and dogs, really, all animals belong in nature. And of course, there are some small exceptions to the rule. For example, if we're living in towns and cities, and we have small little, what they call like toy dogs, basically. And basically, dogs and cats are toys for people. Okay? Believe it or not, they're on chains, they're in cages a lot of times. If they're not in cages, okay, that's a little better. But they have collars, they're on chains or leashes. It's not free. They are not free, people. Get that out of your mind. They're not free. Okay? This is serious. They're not free. Animals, non-human animals, domesticated animals, fish, rabbits, all kinds of rodents like gerbils and hamsters and rats and mice and dogs and cats and birds, certain types of birds, budgies and these kind of animals. They're not free, people. They need to go to nature. But if we're living, okay, there's a dilemma. If we're living in cold climates and we release them in the winter time, many of them can die, okay? If we release them onto the streets, yes, many of them can die. We can have animals roaming, a lot of animals roaming the streets. And we see here in the place that we live, a lot of animals on the streets, especially dogs. Okay, we don't see as many cats, but we see a lot of dogs. But the problem is that people continue breeding and breeding and breeding them. And they keep artificially breeding them. And they keep proliferating and proliferating, but in towns and cities where they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be out in nature. So that's the dilemma. When people live in cold climates, you cannot just throw dogs and cats out to nature. Go 1 hour or 2 hours away from the city and put them in nature, because that doesn't make any sense, right? Because they're not meant for cold climates. These some of these animals, they're meant for warm climates. So we need to go to the warm climate and we need to bring them, put them back into nature. It's like anything. Are you going to take an animal from nature? Basically, that's what we did. We took dogs and cats from nature. We manipulated them somehow with other wild animals. We created these Franken animals, basically. And now they're dependent on us for all the necessities, all their necessities. So they're not free. They're depending on humans. A lot of humans go to work. They are there and work in their job for 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever the case may be. They are, it's just raining a little bit. So that's really nice because usually it's very, 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 very sunny. Yeah. And again, by the way, rainwater. Collect your rainwater. This is an advertisement. Collect your rainwater. Invest in the stuff that collects the rainwater, the barrels and the gutters and all this kind of stuff, and you got pristine rainwater. Woo! So the whole idea really is that animals are not free. No matter what we think and what we may say, and they're part of my family, I can't live without them, because we have a fetish for these animals, and we need to stop seeing them as property. When we see any being with unconditional love, we don't own them any longer. Basically, they are free to go. So they're not part of us. They are free to go. Now, the animals will probably be so attached to us because they're so used to the conditions of living in a house or apartment or things like that. But they're not living truly free lives. Now, of course, the situation of the person who goes to work 8 hours and the animal's there at home, the dog, for example, is at home and they don't have a chance to go use the washroom or things like this, or the toilet, things like this, then they have to either urinate in the house, or they have to hold it, and it's often a very, very horrible situation. Now, of course, if we are home and we have a business at home and we have animals at home, and then we can take them for a walk and all this kind of thing, or they have a kind of a little door that they go through the doors. You know how they have the doggy door I don't know what they call it, but the doggy door, and then the dog just goes right, or the cat just goes right through that little kind of door in the entrance door. So basically, you do that. The dog or the cat goes out and does the business in the backyard or something like that. But that's not truly free. They don't have acres and acres or hectares of forest to run around and animals to truly eat. So they're not living their biological life. They're relying on us for their food, for their water, for sometimes even for their toilet. And in fact, many times we're buying things for them from packaged stuff, whatever it is, dog food, cat food, whatever, even if it's vegan, with vegan supplement added like taurine and stuff like this. Still, it's plastic. It's plastic. It's waste of stuff. It's part of the system still. We want to get out of the system. We want to go back to nature. Forget about this kind of things, Now, some people say, okay, so why not just take your animal, for example, on a flight, and go to somewhere warm, okay, and live with them in nature somewhere. And they can roam around and they can do whatever they want in nature. There's problems with this. First of all, they didn't consent going on the flight or in the car or places like this. And a lot of times they get sick. Animals get sick. In fact, I remember I had a dog when I was much younger, when I was a child, and the dog used to always get sick in the back of the car. We never used to put him in the front seat. We used to put him in the back with me. And ultimately what happens is that they get car sick. They're not used to riding in cars. And many dogs and even cats are afraid of going into automobiles. And they are a lot of times forced into these automobiles, cars, trucks, pickup trucks and so forth, and vans and so forth. And they just don't want to go there. They're scared. And yeah. And then I was told by someone, our family was told by someone, that you feed them ice cream, for example, they will feel good and they will not throw up or have nausea or car sickness while traveling in an automobile. So sorry, why? Okay, just one diversion. Why am I saying automobile and not vehicle? Because vehicle is commercial transportation. Remember this. Vehicle is a commercial transportation. It's a legal word. Okay. So sometimes I may use vehicle because I forget, but automobile is the right word for any kind of transportation, basically, especially on the road. Okay. So then you're feeding them something that is truly unhealthy, which is ice cream. And some people say, well, you can get vegan ice cream. Well, yes, technically you can get vegan ice cream, but it's more expensive and it's still truly not healthy. There's a lot of chemicals in it and stuff like this. It's really not a health food. It's not fruit, okay? Not fruit, that's for sure. So there are even dogs and cats that love fruit, for example. I know a cat that eats watermelons and I think even cucumbers and avocados and different kinds of fruits. The cat loves different kinds of fruits. Even though they do hunt here and there, and the animal does hunt and other animals and so forth, they love fruit and they are fed sometimes vegan. Okay, I mean the whole diet, their whole diet is vegan except for whatever they eat outside. Okay, but the animals are not free. That's it. They rely still on human companionship. Now, of course, there are certain situations where people adopt or rescue an animal, and then over time they start feeling more compassionate for the animal, and then they start feeling compassion for other animals, and then eventually they might become plant-based or vegan. Yes. Especially if it's ethical, for ethical reasons, they become vegan. because that's what veganism is. It's really for ethics. It's really for a higher level of consciousness, understanding that animals are not things to be used. But truly, when we understand that we don't own other beings, that beings are free, that they need to live free in nature, we have to take them somewhere to nature. And I don't mean a farm sanctuary, because farm sanctuaries are kind of like, still like zoos, basically, like a little bit better than zoos, basically. But they're not ideal at all. That's just a transition. But really, those animals we should be releasing, if possible, releasing to nature. And we should be promoting veganism, promoting as much as we can veganism with people, and stop with this pet situation and rescuing so many pets and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of people say, oh, there's so many pets, there's so many cats and dogs, I feel I need to rescue them, I need to take them out from the streets and whatever. And they have no money to even feed them vegan. So how is that vegan? How is that being actually vegan? Not feeding them vegan. And some people say, well, their biological diets are meat and pertaining to dogs, they're omnivores, so they eat a variety of plants and animals. And cats technically are carnivorous, but I've seen some cats eating plants as well. But the animals, yes, they're biologically either carnivore, especially the cats and dogs, which I'm talking about right now. They're biologically carnivorous or omnivorous. However, we are giving them cows, pigs, chickens, fishes that are not their biological food that they're supposed to be eating. When they're in nature, they're not going to eat they're not going to eat, not dogs, they're not going to eat cows and pigs and chickens and fish. It doesn't make any sense. So why are we feeding the animals those kinds of animals? So really, when people say, oh, biologically they need to eat meat, but they don't eat pigs, cows, chickens, and fishes, or turkeys, or lambs, or sheep, they don't eat those kinds of animals. So really, it's a ridiculous statement. In fact, animals, all beings, plants, animals, mycelium, all beings, all life forms deserve, and their biological environment is nature. Is nature. To live in nature. Okay? When I say free the animals, free the domesticated animals, cats and dogs, I don't mean releasing them to the streets. I mean taking them far, far away to a warm place in nature. Then some people might say, oh, now they need to fend for themselves. They have no idea how to do that because they've been domesticated so long. We need to take care of them, and other animals are going to eat them or hurt them or this or that, or these animals are not meant for that. They're bred for human companionship. All those small little dogs, what they call toy dogs, poodles and little Shih Tzus and whatever, whoever. They're not a what, they're who. Okay, remember, they're not a it. They're they, or him, or her. Okay, or he or she. But not an it. Remember, animals are not its. So remember that. They're feeling, sentient beings. When we call animals its, or when we call them, we don't, they are not property. And when people do not free animals into nature, in some subconscious way, they still view animals as property. That's it. No matter if they believe it or not, that's how it is. If we truly believe that animals should be free, all animals should be free, including our pets, our companion animals, and we do our best to release animals to nature. Okay, in warm climates, not in a freezing blizzard snow, in warm climates. And I don't mean in in Nunavut, and I don't mean in Russia, and I don't mean in Norway, and I don't mean in Denmark, and I don't mean in Argentina, and I don't mean in Antarctica. I mean in warm climates, in subtropical or tropical areas of the world. Put them into nature and let universe and nature take care of those animals. Oh, you're horrible. You don't understand. Oh, blah, 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 blah. All kinds of excuses people give me because they have still so much fetish, a fetish love for them. In fact, many of them, and I read this online about women, for example, that live on farms. Many of them, in fact, have even such a strong fetish for certain animals that they even sexually abuse them. It's true. I've read many stories about those kinds of things. Sexually having sex with them, basically. Horrible. They did not consent to those things. They're doing this against their will. They think that they're doing the best for them. This kind of thing. And oh yeah, I love my animals so much, and it's like, it's horrible. Maybe the men do that too. I don't know, but it's horrible. It's very, very horrible. I've heard one case where a teenager was raping one dog, and that is a horrible thing. Very, very horrible thing. Like, wow, bestiality. Oh, that's something else. It's like pedophilia, horrible thing. So, pets, dogs, cats, companion animals, however you call them, if we consider ourselves guardians, caretakers, whatever, it's a violent system, and it needs to stop. All domestication needs to stop. We need to start promoting and talking to people about veganism. If they like it or not, if they don't listen or not, we need to plant that seed of love within them, that unconditional love, because that's what it is. Veganism is all about love, all about unconditional love for all life. And some people might say, well, I don't have any opportunity to go to the tropics and to take my animal over there, and I'm going to be taking them on the airplane and doing all sorts of things that are unethical. Well, it's unethical to have them in our houses. More unethical. More unethical to have them in cold places where they don't belong. It's unethical to house them indoor. It's unethical to keep them dependent on humans. It's unethical, it's unethical, it's unethical. We just need to take them and do the right thing. The transition of doing the right thing is not easy. There's going to be a lot of ethical dilemmas that we are going to come across, like bringing them on the airplane, especially if they're bigger dog or a bigger animal. And a lot of times, yes, truly, maybe those animals, they're that's not their biological home. For example, let's say a big animal let's say a husky. Okay, the husky, their biological environment is not the tropics, of course. So certain types of animals deserve to live in their natural environment. So huskies and other types of dogs, similar dogs, they require temperate zone kind of area. So put them into nature. Now there may be some people like hunters or trappers, and sometimes the animals get trapped or they get killed by poachers or these kind of people. But that's just fate. That's just the universe. Let nature take care of everything. We should not be gods controlling everything, right? And controlling the lives of animals. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? We need to smarten up. We need to stop acting truly like barbarians Okay? And we need to start really analyzing these kind of things and start questioning, is it really the best thing to have animals in our houses? And of course I love dogs and I love cats. Don't get me wrong. And they're so amazing to cuddle with and to have, right? But a lot of them, especially the ones that are in nature, they have sometimes a lot of, or they develop a lot of sickness or illness or things like this, because they're not living truly their natural lives. Uh, for example, a lot of animals have fleas. So imagine animals having fleas, and then you put them in your bed, or we put them in our beds, and we get the fleas. I had that before, and it's not comfortable. I had it twice in my life. Fleas in the bed. Once because a friend of mine, was using my bed, and I didn't realize the dog was in the bed as well. And second, because we bought something used that basically a dog or a cat was using that, and we had to wash it several times, but we had a lot of fleas, basically, which are parasites. So that was troublesome. Yeah, that was very, very, very troublesome. So that is another thing, and they get a lot of diseases, similar diseases to what humans get, and they're not meant to eat unnatural things. If you're cooking for them, dogs and cats and all domesticated animals are not, their biological food is not cookery. It's not cooked meals. It's not things that you put on a fire or on a stove. It's raw flesh from nature. Not pigs, not chickens, not cows, cooked up in a rice, in a stew, in a soup or whatever. That is not their biological food. Kibble, dry kibble, is not their biological food. It's too dry. That's why they're so constipated, these animals. And even if we add water to it, it's ridiculous. They're not eating their true natural diet, which is out in nature, which is a little bit of animals, and mostly what do you call it? And a little bit of plants, but mostly animals, and then a little bit addition of plants. Especially dogs can have a little bit of both. For example, that thing about not Yasuni, Yellowstone Park, about wolves, reintroducing the wolves and all this kind of thing, and then killing, this kind of thing is kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. I don't trust a lot of what they're saying. A friend of mine told me, actually, he was reading about that. Truly, what was happening was the wolves, because they are omnivorous, they, as much as possible, try to eat as much plants as they possibly can, as much plant foods as much as they can. And in what they found from, I think, some of the dying animals or some of the dead animals, what they found is that the animals, the wolves, were eating exclusively plant-based. Actually, they were eating fruits, mostly fruits coming from berries. And that was in the summertime that they were, maybe springtime, I'm not sure, but it's summertime that they were doing this. And of course, in the wintertime, they were not able to find berries and to find fruits and to find other plants. So they just ate the animals, because that's all they could get. It's like humans. If they go to colder climates, in the warmer climate, they'll try to eat as much fruits and as much berries and as much plants as possible. But then in the winter months, that's all they have. If that's all they have, they're in nature scavenging, or they're just going around. There's nothing to do but to kill animals. But what tends to happen, well, from my understanding and what I've learned and experience, is that we're not hunters, actually, biological hunters. We're not. We are kind of scavengers. So whatever animal is on, it's like a vulture. Whatever animal is on the ground, whatever animal is there, if we're hungry, we will eat those animals. but we will do our best, whatever it takes, to eat whatever plants there are at the time, or even do long fastings, this kind of things, in nature. So I don't believe we were the true killers of the world. So having pets, domesticated animals, even sanctuaries, all this kind of thing, doesn't make any sense anymore. Please, people, wake up. This doesn't make any sense any longer. Don't justify this, because truly we cannot be intelligent human beings if we don't make those vital connections, because that's what intelligence means, is to make vital connections. So let's stop this violence. Let's go vegan already. Let's stop adopting and rescuing all this nonsense, okay? Yes, there are a lot of pets out there, but we need to be talking about the most important thing, which is to people, which is stop seeing animals as property. Stop seeing anything that comes from animals as property, as things to be eaten. Stop seeing them for clothing and everything. This shirt, for example, 100% cotton. So, yeah, this is the win. The win, 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 win. So that's the thing. People, wake up. Wake up to the pet situation. Because that's another thing. If people consider themselves vegan and they have pets, they're not really vegans. So wake up to this, People might say, "Hey, Mike, you're so extreme. I know all these things, but I have so many animals, and I cannot. It's hard for me just to release them somewhere. I cannot. How am I going to release my 5 dogs or my? What am I going to do if I have a sanctuary or something like animal sanctuary? What am I going to do about this?" And yeah, no situation is going to be completely perfect. There's going to be some ethical dilemmas, of course, and there's no answer for everything. In fact, we have to address questions, not answer them, because then it stops the thought process. But in any case, there's no good solution for every situation. So we just have to do the best that we can, and to understand that don't bring any more animals here, and that's it. And then when they all die of natural causes, then that's okay. Then no more animals. That's it. No more animals. Just keep promoting veganism as best as we can. Become more minimalist. Become more non-conformist. Get out of the system. Become anarchist. Become vegan. Become raw vegan. Eat fruitarian. So these kinds of things. So it's part of the slavery system. We need to get out of this mentality of ownership, of seeing other beings as property. They need to be free. They need to be eating their biological diet out in nature, and not from slaughterhouses and all this kind of thing, and from oh yeah, I see the animals in the farm somewhere, happy. Okay, now you're killing them in order to feed your dog. So it doesn't make any sense. They're killing animals in order to feed your dog. People are killing animals, and even if it's a vegan dog or cat food, yes, you're supporting vegans, okay? Because I truly believe that many of these people that own these companies are vegans. And also there are companies that are not vegan that have a line of vegan cat and dog food, which I don't like that, because it's cross contamination. You're supporting the meat industry. They mix everything together. I don't trust them. Just stop domesticating. Stop rescuing. Stop doing all this nonsense. Go vegan. Go anarchist. Go out to nature in the tropical areas of the world. Stop with this ownership. Pet ownership is nonsense. It's violence. Drink real alive rainwater instead of this nonsense from the bottles and shipping from so far away and all this kind of thing. Rainwater right here. Collect your own rainwater. And if you live in a city or the town or an apartment and you can't do this, get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there.